Have you ever had a thought that you just couldn't shake? The more you try to just push it away, the louder it seems to get. It's like you're stuck in this mental tug-of-war and you're always on the losing side. Well, today, we're going to dive into exactly why fighting our thoughts just makes them so much stronger. You know the feeling, right? Some random worry or a doubt or maybe a super cringy memory just pops into your head and your first instinct is, get it out. But the more you push, the more it digs in, getting louder and more stubborn. It is one of the most frustrating things about the human mind. So what is actually going on here? To really get to the bottom of this, we need to talk about something called the overthinking trap. It's this cycle that a lot of us get stuck in, especially high achievers and creative types. And it's all powered by a huge misunderstanding of how our minds really work. And here it is. The big misunderstanding. It's this belief that if your mind is noisy, you just need to be tougher. You just need more willpower, right? More discipline, more control. I mean, it seems logical. If something's out of control, you just grip the reins a little tighter.
So that belief leads us to try all these different strategies. We try to just force a thought to stop, or maybe we try to replace it with a good thought, or we even start arguing with it in our heads. But these are all just different ways of resisting. And even though they feel productive, they're actually just building the walls of the trap.
So why on earth does all this effort backfire so spectacularly? Well, the answer isn't about your willpower. It's actually a really simple, totally automatic process that's happening inside your own nervous system. Think of it like this invisible chain reaction. It all starts when you fight a thought. That act of fighting it is basically telling your brain, hey, this is a threat. That resistance creates a danger signal. And what happens then? Well, your nervous system kicks into gear. And a freaked out, hyper-aware nervous system, its job is to look for more danger, which means it starts pumping out more of the very thoughts you were trying to get rid of. So you see, it has nothing to do with you being weak or not trying hard enough. The very act of trying to control your thoughts is what's turning up the volume on the mental noise. You're accidentally fueling the fire. Okay, so if fighting them is the problem, what's the solution? Well, it all starts with a pretty profound shift in perspective. We have to completely rethink our relationship with our thoughts and what they actually are.
Most of us treat our thoughts like they're commands. The thought, I'm not good enough, feels like a final verdict from a judge. But what if we saw them as just information, like suggestions or just mental weather that's passing by, not orders that we have to obey? The source material we're looking at calls this whole automatic loop static. It's that state where a thought you're not even aware of feels so completely real that your body physically reacts to it. Your shoulders get tense, your stomach gets in a knot, and all your clarity just vanishes. It's not a character flaw, it's just your mind running on autopilot.
All right, this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? Well, the good news is it doesn't take more effort. It actually takes less. It's all about making a simple little shift in your awareness. And here's the absolute key to the whole thing. Awareness isn't a passive sport. It's not just about sitting back and watching your thoughts go by. The very act of becoming aware of a thought is what corrects the problem. Just noticing, oh hey, there's that thought again, immediately robs it of its power. It moves it out of the this is reality box and into the this is just a mental event box. So let's take a super common example. I mean, we've all been here, staring at a blank page or a tough problem. And this one thought just takes over our entire reality. I'm stuck. It feels like an absolute truth, doesn't it? But now, look at this tiny shift. Instead of being the thought, you just notice it. I'm having the thought that I'm stuck. Can you feel the difference? It's so subtle, but it is everything. Suddenly, you're not the one who is stuck. You're the one who is observing the thought about being stuck. That one tiny little change in phrasing creates psychological distance. And in that little bit of space, the thought loses all its urgency, all its authority. And as that pressure releases, your nervous system starts to calm down. No force, no fighting, no effort required. And all of this really leads us to the most important takeaway of all. The goal was never ever to control our thoughts in the first place.
Trying to control your thoughts? It's like trying to wrestle fog.
Or trying to push water away from you while you're standing in a pool. Or shouting at noise, telling it to be quiet. See? In every single one of those examples, the effort you're putting in is the problem. And this quote from the source material just says it all perfectly. The thoughts might still pop up. The point isn't to have a totally empty mind. The point is to get to a place where your thoughts just aren't the boss of you anymore. When you stop fighting them, they lose their power over you. So if you take just one thing away today, please let it be this.
Real clarity, that sense of peace and focus you're looking for, it doesn't come from finally winning the war inside your head. It comes the moment you decide to just lay down your weapons and end the fight.
But that leaves us with a pretty interesting question, doesn't it? What happens when your mind is finally quiet, but you still feel frozen, like you can't take action? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore next time.